When Call of Duty 4 was released 15 years ago, it took the world by storm. It completely changed the Call of Duty franchise from the ground up. Many people look back on it as one of the most influential games of all time. I'm lulzPIE, and today we're going to be ranking the base game's maps from worst to best. Now, this is my general feelings on the maps, not popular opinion. If you disagree with the ranking, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Bog. Oh my god, fuck Bog. A lot of my regulars know that I'm not a big fan of sniping. I prefer to sneak around the map and pick off people that aren't paying attention. Now this can be fairly difficult whenever the 6 snipers on the other team can see you spawning from the other side of the map. When the lobby is mostly run and gun, this map can be interesting. Unfortunately, this is a rare occurrence. If you manage to get past the hail of sniper rounds buzzing by your head, there's more than likely someone camping in the shops on the side of the map. It's pretty difficult to move around this map. This is one of the few maps that I'll back out if I know there's another lobby I can join. Long story short, I hate this freaking map, and don't even get me started on Beach Bog from NWR. Oh man, lulzPIE is so salty about Bog. Hell yeah I am. Nothing's worse than slapping around a party of idiots with FaZe as their clan tags, failing to quickscope all night, just to get utterly destroyed on Bog. Then, they have the audacity to hop on their mics trying to shit talk like they actually did something. Block. Block can be pretty tricky. It's another map that favors the long-range engagements. Most of both teams hunker down on one side with either snipers or an M16 and just wait for anyone to move. This leads to long, boring, drawn-out matches and tons of deaths when you try to change position. Plus, going anywhere near the middle of the map is just asking for death. If you do manage to make it to the enemy's side, it's very satisfying taking them all out. They're usually too busy hardscoping, waiting for someone to run by, and they'll never even notice their teammates being picked off one by one. Now, did you know this whole pool area is back here? I never see anyone back in this area. If we were playing hide and seek, whoever hid here would freaking win since nobody would come looking for them. Overgrown. Overgrown is a map that I usually get flack when I talk about it. I know it's popular with a lot of people, but I'm just not a fan. It's huge, open, and favors the campers and snipers. There's just not much for someone with my playstyle to do on here. I spend most of my time running around the entire map just to get picked off by someone that's 200 feet away. That being said, when there's a decent amount of people moving around, it can be a good time. There's just too many spots that a good sniper can sit at and shut down an entire portion of the map. Pipeline. Now, Pipeline is a freaking mess. It's a combination of pretty much every map type in this game. You spawn in a large open field and need to sprint for 30 seconds before you can even get to a damn building. From there, you have a few options. You can grab a sniper and hang back watching over the entire map. Or take that sniper to the roof of one of the buildings and fight from there. Or, what I like to do, you can run around the entire map through the underground pipeline. I see what they did there. I won't lie, I get lost pretty easy down here. Though I've been playing this game for almost 15 years, I still just take random turns and peek my head out wherever I end up at. You can access both main buildings, the train tracks, and a small shack near their field spawn from here. I honestly think people forget about this part of the map because I never bump into anyone down here. This map's pretty popular with snipers and campers, but the pipes make it a lot easier for someone like me to flank around everyone. Ambush. Ambush is a pretty solid map for snipers. It has a ton of vantage points that give you an eye on many high traffic areas. That being said, there's always a few ways to sneak around the map to catch these snipers off guard. I like to sneak through the tunnels that cross the middle of the map. As long as nobody sees you go in there, you'll be in the clear. You can almost guarantee that at least one person in the lobby will be camping in one of the houses. There's also a mounted MG in each spawn, which can be handy for shooting down any helicopters that get caught in. Besides that, these MGs aren't very useful for much else. Which is something we'll see change in some other maps. Honestly, it's a solid enough map that I've had some pretty awesome matches on, but it favors the snipers over a run and gun playstyle. It's just way too open for my liking. Showdown. Now, I could be wrong, as I usually am, but Showdown feels like the next smallest map in the game next to Shipment. Most of the gunfights are people going back and forth from the second floor, with occasional scuffles around the outside of the map. It's pretty boxed in, with not very many places to hide. That doesn't stop some people from camping on the stairs for some cheesy kills though. A lot of people enjoy this map and that's cool, but I just can't get into it. I've had some amazing matches on here, and quite a few stinkers, but either way, I just don't really enjoy playing on this map. Crossfire. Crossfire is another oddball map. It has a huge, wide open road going straight down the middle. Snipers love perching in buildings on either side of the map and keep an eagle eye on this area. Thankfully, there's plenty of buildings on the outside edges that can help people like me flank around. The side with the bus is typically more quiet than the other. The one thing that really annoys me about this map is it's ridiculously huge for no freaking reason. There's huge buildings in both spawns that you can enter, yet I never see anyone there. Did you know you can go here? Bet you didn't. If it wasn't for the safety of the side lanes, this map would be far worse. Nothing's more satisfying than sneaking around the entire map and taking out the enemy snipers. In contrast, nothing's more frustrating than making it around the entire map just to die to a camper or claymore. Strike. Now, Strike is larger than you think. There's a lot going on in this map, though most gunfights stay centralized in a few spots. There's a few places where snipers like to chill, and the other team is constantly pushing those spots trying to take them out. It has some very open areas and some cheeky flanking routes too. Now, like many maps in this game, there's a lot of random dead ends. Nothing better than being shot at, diving in a building to get to cover, and realizing mid-reload that the only way out is the way you came in. It's an alright map. The power positions can only hold down so much, and they're usually easy enough to flank around. There's also so much wasted space that nobody uses. This makes this map hell to play prop hunt on in Modern Warfare Remastered. Backlot. Backlot is one of the games in this map that has a weird layout. There's so many buildings that you can weave in and out of that it makes it hard to categorize it as a traditional 3-lane map. There's not really any power positions unless you're spawn trapping from the construction site. People like to gravitate there, but it's hard to hold this down for long since there's so many entry points. It's also pretty easy to chuck a grenade in there. There's some other buildings people like to camp in as well, and they'll usually throw some claymores down on the stairs and head up to the second floor. There's also a building near the middle of the map. This is also a popular spot, as you can see most of the map from the windows, but that also puts a target on your back. Now the cool thing is, you can parkour your way up a ladder and climb to the roof. Now you can see the entire map from here. You get a good sniper up there, and they become a giant pain in the ass for the other team. Just know that there's essentially no cover here, so try not to linger too long. There's a ton of random buildings you can go in. Some are shortcuts to different parts of the map, some are dead ends. This can be pretty helpful when people are shutting down the streets, as you can easily flank around from the safety of the indoors. Backlot can be chaotic at times, and it's incredibly easy to get spawn trapped by the construction site. The streets can be a very dangerous place as there's so many spots looking down on you. Wet work. Wet work can sometimes be just as chaotic as shipment. It can honestly be hard to push forward sometimes between the constant nade spam and snipers picking people off. Pushing up the middle is a no-no, as it's wide open and prime real estate for a 50 cal to the chest.
It's free real estate.
The only real way to maneuver is to stick to the edges. With how open the middle is, any enemy on the other side can see you clear as day, even though it's a night map. I've always sucked at hitting people that are behind cover, and since I main a suppressed P90, shooting through it is out of the question. Unless I get the jump on people pushing the opposite edge, I'm typically done. That aside, there's a lot of blind corners that usually end with my death. I usually have to take these fast to avoid the snipers, and with my luck, there's usually some dude with either a shotgun or an M16 sitting there waiting for me. Now, if you do manage to make it to the enemy spawn, it can be very easy to spawn trap. Plus, one airstrike has the ability to take out the entire team multiple times. Just like Showdown, I've had some really amazing matches on here, but more often than not, I get my ass handed to me. Shipment. This has got to be one of the most famous Call of Duty maps. Hell, it's even the smallest map in Call of Duty history. I could be wrong, but after digging around some, it seems as if there's 8 different games with some version of Shipment included. That could have been 9, but it was cut from Modern Warfare 2. Now, in all honesty, I'm not a huge fan of this version of Shipment. All it takes is for someone to get an airstrike and the game's basically over. Plus, everything seems to have that same olive drab tint to it, making it pretty hard for me to really get a grasp of where I'm at when I first spawn in. After a couple seconds, I get my bearings, but for shipment, a couple seconds is too long. It's complete and utter chaos, which is what it's supposed to be. I'm just not the biggest fan of it in COD 4. Countdown. Countdown is interesting to say the least. It's very open. The only buildings are in the spawns of both sides of the map. That being said, there's cover everywhere. Concrete block here, silo door there, and giant plumes of smoke everywhere. Snipers love this map, and I love that they love it. They're usually not far from their own spawn, focus in on the middle of the map. Then, here comes a big old fat pie flanking around the outside edge to get the jump on them. I usually take out a couple before that one dude camping in their spawn building with an M60 takes me out. Honestly, it's not a bad map, but it's not amazing either. District. Look, I'd be lying if I said District was an exciting map. It's a generic Middle Eastern village filled with gray and brown. Its redeeming quality is basically every area can be a hotspot. It seems throughout the match the firefights rotate throughout the entire map, which is nice. The marketplace in the middle is popular, along with the areas attached to it. There's also a road that goes completely around the map, which usually has something going on somewhere on it. It's not very pretty, but it gets the job done in terms of action. Downpour. Now, I have to say that Downpour is a guilty pleasure of mine. I've heard mixed reactions from my chat whenever this map comes up in rotation. Its dark lighting, along with the overwhelming sound of thunder and rain, makes it perfect for a player like me that likes to be as quiet as possible. The ambiance of it can make it too easy at times to get around and get some nasty streaks on the unsuspecting enemy. Now, there's definitely some downsides to this map, which is why it's not higher on the list. The mounted MGs in both spawns can be spammed and shut down a lot of the map. There's also that large grassy area behind the house that people love to sit in the back and camp. They sometimes get ballsy and run up to the windows of the house and shoot people as they round the corner. That infuriates the ever-loving piss out of me. Besides that, the map has nice flow with plenty of cover for some heavy engagements. Crash. Crash is a map that's popular with just about everyone. Hell, it's been in multiple games and has had a night version and a winter version too. Little fun fact that I learned while making this video, Winter Crash wasn't introduced in NWR, it was actually exclusive to the PC version of COD 4 back in the day. It can be a very campy map with some very nasty lines of sight for snipers. I don't mind though, because the other team is typically predictable with their camping locations. This really comes down to map knowledge, knowing where your team is, knowing where the enemy team is, and where everyone is spawning. This makes it easy enough to guesstimate where the campers are hiding. Now the long road on the outside edge is a dead man's land. Typically, there's a sniper watching it from either side. People love sitting in the buildings since they give a pretty good line of sight over most of the map. Then there's this massive 3-story building. There's always someone here sniping from the second story or the roof. A handful of times I've gotten someone on the roof by chucking a nade from ground level. That's always satisfying. There's also a ladder on the roof where you can see a decent amount of the spawn. Camping this is a giant dick move, and I'm guilty of it. Vacant. When I did the video of my favorite map from each COD game, I got a lot of comments from people surprised that I put Vacant as my favorite from COD 4. I didn't go into much detail in that video, so let me explain why I enjoy this map so much. Vacant is the perfect map for any playstyle. It's a beautiful blend of short, medium, and long-range lanes. Plenty of maps have that in COD 4, but none do it as well as Vacant does. You have the hallways for close-quarter engagements, there's the office space that is perfect for medium fights, with plenty of cover if you need to reload or maneuver. There's also the dock, which can be fun to defend against people that are pushing into it. Or, if you're feeling froggy and want some long-range action, you can hit people down at the shipping containers and vice versa. Now there's multiple ways to get inside, making it hard for the enemy to defend every single one. So if they're holding down one way, just pick another. I like to go to the far side where all the cars are parked. Just make sure none of them are flaming before pushing forward. For some reason, not many people defend this side, though sometimes I end up duking it out with someone through the windows. So there you have it, my ranking for COD 4's maps from worst to best. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What's your least and most favorite map in the game? Just remember that everyone is entitled to their own opinions here, so keep things civil. If you haven't already, I'd greatly appreciate a like and sub. Thanks again for watching everyone. Have a great day.